Welcome to today's webinar, Discover Why Fiji is the Perfect Destination. This webinar is brought to you by Baxter Media and Tourism Fiji. I'm your host, Zephan McMillan, Virtual Events Coordinator at Baxter Media, and today is Wednesday, January 11th. Our presenters are Ruth Daly, the Regional Director for Tourism Fiji, and John Murray from Fiji Airways. We also have Proud Miranda from Tourism Fiji, who will be answering questions in the chat. Feel free to type your questions into the chat section of the Q&A section of the public chat box, which is located to the right-hand side of your screen. The Tourism Fiji team will answer your questions directly in the chat during the live Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So feel free to submit your questions to the Q&A section, and they will either be answered in the Q&A section, or they'll be answered live at the end of this session. Those who attend the full webinar will be entered into the draw for 2 economy class tickets to Fiji from Fiji Airways, which will be announced at the end of the webinar. So stay with us till then. And remember, this is a live session, so your patience is appreciated during any technical difficulties that may arise. The webinar will be recorded, and the recording link will be sent to all registrants within 24 hours. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Ruth. So thanks for being here, everybody. We're so glad to have you. And Ruth, take it away.
Hey, Zephan, Vinaka Vakalevu, and Nisam Bula, everybody. It is such a pleasure and honor to be with you here this morning. Again, I'm Ruth Daly, the Regional Director for Tourism Fiji. I'm based in Los Angeles, where it's a frigid 12 degrees Celsius this morning. So we're all putting on our socks and proper shoes today. So I thank all of you who are joining us from, I know, much, much colder places, joining us today for today's webinar. So I have just returned from 6 weeks in Fiji. So it's going to be hard for me to get through this presentation without going off on a million stories and tangents, but we have a lot to do and to get through today. Wish I could spend the whole day talking about Fiji with all of you. If you want to see more about my experiences and you're on Instagram, follow me at Insta, super easy, at Ruth Daly Fiji. It's a good way to see a snapshot of some of my most recent adventures, and here's one of them. Anyway, so quickly today, what we're going to get through, just some exciting news updates from Fiji Airways. I want to talk to you really quickly about why Fiji is that perfect sort of destination for your clients going into 2023. We're going to make a really quick trip around the islands. I'm hoping to give you enough information and just to get you excited about the islands and wanting to learn more. Quick update about on what's going on, and then our new travel agent specialist program, the Matai program, which will help you learn more and be more engaged with us. So without further ado, because we want to keep going here, I want to introduce my colleague, my companion, John Murray from Fiji Airways, who's located up in Canada, in Toronto, who is looking after all of you. So, John, I'm going to hand it over to you now. So,
excellent. Okay, well, Ruth, thank you very much. That was a great introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all out today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us to give you information about Fiji. You're in for a great presentation. Ruth is going to give you a really good overview of all there is to see and do in Fiji over the next few minutes. But for now, it's my job to go over some of the specifics about Fiji Airways, the flag carrier. Before I start, I should also thank you all once again, as our launch, which happened back on the 25th of November from Vancouver, has been extremely successful. We have seen some excellent loads. We have, carried a number of Canadians down to Fiji in that very short time that we've been operating. And that is largely thanks to the support that we have received from agents such as yourselves. So if you're already selling us, thank you so much. We do appreciate you contributing to the success of our launch. And for those of you who have not yet had the opportunity to sell Fiji, I hope we can give you some information to give you more confidence and make you feel more comfortable in booking the destination and the airline itself. So as I said, Bula, Vancouver. We should probably change that to from November 25th now, because we are now launched. And like I said, it's been very successful. We are currently operating 2 times a week, every Monday and Friday, and that is going nonstop from Vancouver to Nandi. Flight goes out late evening and gets in first thing in the morning 2 days later. The main advantage to that is that because we have such a late departure to Vancouver, we can offer connections from across Canada. So we are currently interlining with both Air Canada and WestJet to connect from cities across the country. So regardless if you're in Calgary, very quick connection in Toronto, doesn't matter. We are working on getting interline to most major centers connecting to Vancouver. Now, we also continue to operate our daily flight out of Los Angeles, as well as our 3 times weekly service out of San Francisco. So on the if you need to travel on the day that the Vancouver flight is not operating, that is still an option. You still connect from out of Los Angeles to San Francisco. That being said, if you can go via Vancouver, the process is so much quicker because you do avoid U.S. customs. So that's another reason why we're quite pleased to be operating out of Vancouver and offering more seats for Canadians. We mentioned of Honolulu as well, although I should mention Honolulu is a narrow body service, and it's not nonstop every day. They do make some stops on Kiribati along the way. So it is an option if you wanted to combine Honolulu and Fiji, but the quickest way would be either from our gateways in Vancouver, San Francisco, or Los Angeles. Upon arrival, we have some excellent connections within a couple of hours to destinations in both Australia and New Zealand. You see up on the screen now the full route map, and it is so great to see Vancouver as being one of the destinations again. So as you see, we do have a pretty extensive, sorry, if you just go back one slide for a second. Thank you. Our extensive network, we operate to 4 cities in Australia, 3 in New Zealand, as well as cities, as well as some of the islands in the South Pacific. So if you're looking at places like Tonga, like Samoa, even some ones like Vanuatu, we do offer service there. I should mention about our Asia service. Yes, we also connect into Asia, although right now we're only operating into Singapore. But now that's, Tokyo and Hong Kong have all but reopened, we will be resuming service there in the near future. So, and then again, the little minor destinations, you also see we operate to a number of destinations within the islands. So for island hopping, we do offer some flights as well. So that gives you an idea of our route network. Also, I should mention we are a One World Connect member, meaning that if you're looking at people are collecting frequent flyer, we do partner with Qantas, with American, British Airways, JAL, Cathay Pacific, to name a few. So we have our own frequent flyer, but you can use one of those as well and collect points. Now on board, we operate 2 classes of service, business and economy. Now what you're seeing right now is the interior shot of the economy class on board our A350. Now the A350 is our flagship, and it is currently being used on the LA route. Great aircraft, you've had a chance to fly it. Very comfortable, just a great plane to fly on. Now for Vancouver, we are currently operating our Airbus A330 aircraft. Again, very comfortable aircraft. The layout is a 242 configuration, meaning that we do operate as a full service carrier, so it's not a high density economy class. So it's still 8 across rather than 9, as some of the low cost carriers have moved to. There. And as well, we have our business class. We have 24 seats on the Airbus A330. And again, what you're seeing is our flagship A350 product. As you can see, it's an angled seat. It does go to lie flat. For those of you who have flown WestJet 787 business class, you're going to be very familiar with the seat because it's very similar. However, right now on the Vancouver flight, it is still a great product, but it is not a true lie flat. So I know for those of you who do have, say, corporate clients or whatnot, it is an important distinction. So I just want to make sure you're aware that it is still a great product, but it's not the true lie flat bed. It is an angled flat. Having said that, We are in talks of trying to acquire more A350 aircraft. And if we are ultimately successful in securing more planes, there's a very good chance we'll get this aircraft on the Vancouver flight in the near future. So obviously that's something we're working very hard to get because we believe that Vancouver is a market that would definitely support it. And once we have any changes or updates on that, we will be sure to let the market know. But again, regardless of which class you fly in, you are going to be treated as some of the best service in the South Pacific. In fact, we were recognized by Skytrax. We won the 2022 award for Best Cabin Crew for the South Pacific. And any of you who may have traveled to that part of the world know there's pretty stiff competition there. So we're very proud to be recognized that way this year. And that is pretty much all that I have to mention on Fiji Airways. As I said, it's been a great success. Although I would be remiss, thank you, in mentioning that as part of our launch, we did take a small group of agents down for the inaugural fam trip. You can see some photos there. And it was a great success. We're hoping to maybe in the future, bring in some more incentives, get some more Canadians down. And to further incentivize, give you more information on what's available, I'm going to pass the show back to Ruth, and she will cover the islands themselves. So thank you.
Naka John, that was amazing. And I went out on that first inaugural flight out of Vancouver. Again, everything that John said, absolutely true. Super comfortable flight. Just short of 12 hours, Vancouver into Nandi, traveled with 7 of the most delightful travel agents, travel industry professionals I have ever met. And you can see this is all, honestly, looking at it within like the first 24 hours of arrival. So it was an amazing trip. And I hope that we can host a lot of you on trips to Fiji, because there's no way to get to know the islands better than getting there and seeing it for yourself. So I'm going to delve into this presentation really quickly. And there's a few things I just want you to keep in mind about Fiji. So number one, as John has alluded to, super easy to get there. Again, a quick overnight flight in and out of Vancouver. So super easy to arrive. Sorry, I just had one slide out of order. And I just wanted to mention that Fiji does have something for everyone. And so there's a lot of different types of clients that you should keep in mind when you're thinking about Fiji, when they're coming into your office. Probably best known as a romance destination, honeymoons. And honestly, this is truly where somebody or a couple can go and be alone. And remoteness and privacy is just so easy to achieve in Fiji. This is my type of traveler. I'm a wellness traveler. I would be happy lying in a hammock with a glass of champagne all day long. And again, lots of opportunities just to relax, to unwind, to disconnect, and to really kind of get back in touch with yourself. We're also really known for adventure, and a lot of people don't realize how much you can do while you're in Fiji. So it's not just about lying in a hammock, but you can also do some river rafting. You can scuba dive, snorkel, waterfall trek, lots of cool things to do, and for travelers of all types and ages. And one group of travelers that maybe we haven't necessarily thought of for Fiji, in the past, but is families. And Australia and New Zealand families have been traveling to Fiji as their favorite family destination for absolutely decades. And there's some amazing programs and products in Fiji that I'll tell you a little bit more about as we go through, but a great place to take kids. And again, on an overnight flight from the West Coast, it's not that hard for kids. You give them a little computer of some sort and they're very happy. I think the number one reason, if you ask anybody who's been to Fiji, like, what do you remember most? And it's like, oh my God, yes, the accommodations were great. We had a wonderful time, but what made the real difference was the people. And it is the people of Fiji that are the highlight of any trip. So we call it the Bula spirit. And Bula is our greeting. You say hello, and Bula, you say it to everyone. It means cheers. It means health. It means hello. And it's this spirit in Fiji that everyone is family, and you just embrace everyone with spirits of kindness and generosity. Everywhere you go, you get a big Bula smile. You would never walk down the street and not say Bula. This is perhaps less of a foreign concept to you as Canadians, but for me in Fiji, in living in LA, like I'm certainly not going to get a Bula, much less a smile from anybody until I see the my friends later on today. But I've been talking to people about it, and I've been saying that Fiji is like yoga for your soul, and a lot of it is the people and the reminder of how we should be treating each other. And just again, you arrive as a visitor, but you leave as family. So the other great thing about Fiji is we are a traditional culture. It's a living culture. You don't have to go off to some dinner show to experience Fijian culture. It's ubiquitous in everything. Most of the staff members that you'll meet, many of them live in traditional villages. So when they get off work, they're going home to a village. Plenty of opportunity for you as a visitor to come and enjoy, and they love to share their culture and their traditions and pass it on. So it's not just getting to know the people, but it's really becoming part of this deeper, richer Fijian culture. So just really quickly, it's easy to get into Fiji. You only have to, 2 requirements. You must be vaccinated, and you can find more information on the website about everything. But for Canadians, you should be good to go. And you need to have travel insurance. And if for some crazy reason you have clients who are traveling in this day and age without travel insurance, there is a quick little policy that you can buy for your visitors for $39 US. It gets you into the country. These entry requirements are very fluid, changing all the time. So I would suggest, you keep in touch and keep on top of those. Just some quick Fiji background before we get on an airplane and head down to the islands. But Fiji is 333 islands. That's at low tide. So that's a little joke. Hope you get that one. But lots and lots of islands. Only about 110 of those islands are inhabited. So lots of remote, deserted islands. We are a former British colony. We were British between 1870 and 1970. So we've been an independent nation for 52 years now. Fijians are Melanesian, not Polynesian, so a different background than you find with our cousins in Hawaii and in Tahiti. But with a twist in that when we were British for about 30 years, from 1870 to 1900, the British brought in Indians from India to work in the sugarcane fields in Fiji. And these workers, the vast majority of them never were able to return to India. So today about 40% of our population is made up of 5th and 6th generation Indians. And it gives a great colorful twist to our culture, to our food, and just to everything. So a little bit more quickly, English is the official language. June to September is the peak season. That's the quote dry season. It's winter in Fiji in the South Pacific. It's very popular time for Australians and Kiwis to be there. So it is the peak season, the most expensive season. January to March is the tropical season. So the weather today is forecast to be about 28 degrees. You will likely get a rain shower overnight or a rain shower in the afternoon. The rain is hot. I was just sharing that I went to a Christmas party at a friend's house in Fiji, and they had to put chunks of ice into the swimming pool to cool down the pool water to make it swimmable on Christmas Day. So it's a nice hot rain. $1 US equals 2 Fijian dollars. I converted that this morning. So 1 Canadian dollar gets you about 1.65 Fijian dollars. So you're getting money, making money as you come into the country. No tipping in Fiji, no personal tipping. It's not part of the culture. Individual recognition is not something Fijians, it's not part of the culture. So if you do tip, you're encouraged to tip to the entire staff at the end of your stay. So again, you don't have to worry about constantly having, little bits of money to tip here and there. Just don't have to worry about it. And no visas required for US and Canadian citizens. So super easy to arrive. All right. Whew. Enough with kind of the business end of it. Let's go to the island, shall we? So here's a map of Fiji, as I said. 333 islands. We're going to do a quick little overview for you today, but I want to just draw your attention to the beautiful Fiji Airways aircraft there in coming in on the western side of the VT Levu Island. So we're going to start there. VT Levu is our big island. We call it the mainland. It's kind of funny, but it's the big island. It's about the same size as the big island of Hawaii. And there is one road that goes all the way around the island. And if you drove that, it would take you about 14 hours to drive all the way around the island. So anyway, just to give you an idea about the size of VT Levu. So it actually, the word VT is Fijian for Fiji, and Levu means big. So VT Levu is Big Fiji. It is the home of Nandi International Airport. And I want to give you just a quick little tip about Fijian language. It's got some little twists and turns in it. So in front of a D, the letter D in Fijian, you pronounce an N. So it's actually Nandi International Airport. It's not Nadi or Nadi. It's Nandi International Airport. I automated easy on us. They made the airport code NAN. So it kind of is a trigger to remember to put that N in there. But when you're talking to your client, sound smart, they're going to Nandi, home of the international airport, beautifully rebuilt within the last 5-6 years. Also the domestic airport. Just south of Nandi, you're also going to find our major tourism hub, which is Denarau Island and Marina. So again, this is about a 20-minute drive south of Nandi Airport. And so as you can see here, it's a large development. This was built in the 70s and 80s. And probably the most important part of the one part of Denarau Island that all of your clients will see, or most of them, is Port Denarau Marina. So this is what you see here in the front. And it's where all the not only the private yachts go in and out of, but all the ferries and private transfers and cruise ships go in and out of that are going up to the Yasawa and Mamanutha Islands. So again, it's not only the port with the cruises, but it's also a place to do all your day tripping. And it's also home to lots of different shops and restaurants. So you can grab a coffee or grab a dinner and do your gift shopping, et cetera, before you get on or after you get off your cruise. Now, on Denarau Island, there is a whole group of big box, large hotel, international chain hotels. These are great places for a quick stay. I'm going to be honest, and this would not be a full Fijian experience to remain on Denarau, but it is a great stopover for clients who need to just be carefully or closely located to the port to go in and out. So there's a very, very large Hilton. It's a very long, large 2-story resort that covers the whole north end of the beach. There is the Sofitel Resort, which was probably positioned as the most luxurious on Denarau. They have a wonderful adults-only wing called the Waitui Beach Club. So it's not just a wing of rooms, but also an adults-only pool area. The beautiful Westin, which was opened as the Regent of Fiji back in the 80s, and that's closed for renovations until 2023. There's a Sheraton Resort and Sheraton Villas, which are condo style. That was newly renovated, opened just under a year ago. Absolutely beautifully done renovation. So that's a great choice. And there's also a Radisson Blue Resort. And I'm really happy to report the Canadian Fam and I stayed there on our trip in December, and it was lovely. We had a great time. So lots of choices for your larger hotels. But now I want to take you down and get you out of sort of the hub of tourism and take you down to Fiji's Coral Coast, which is essentially the southern coast. It's about 120 miles of beaches that make up the southern coast of VT Levu. It's accessible driving within 45 minutes to 2 hours. Great for family travelers, great for adventure. So why is it called the Coral Coast? Well, again, because it's got all these beautiful beaches and it's lined by a coral, just a coral reef that's just offshore. So it's really great and easy swimming. You don't need to go out on a boat to see some of this beautiful underwater marine life along the Coral Coast. There's also some really great land adventures that you can take advantage of when you stay on the Coral Coast. This is the Singatoka River Safari, where you get on a jet boat and go up into the highlands of Viti Levu into the interior. And the best part is you actually go and you have lunch at a local village. And again, you get to see authentic culture and meet beautiful Fijian people. There's another really fun activity along the Coral Coast where they've built these electric bikes into an old sugarcane rail track. And so you can get on these, you got a picnic lunch, you go through villages, the kids come out and give you high fives as you go through. You finish with a lunch on a beach and then you turn around and you come back. And again, because they're electric, you don't even have to pedal. And I think a lot of people are surprised you can actually do whitewater river rafting in Fiji on the upper Nuvua River, which is over towards the eastern side of the Coral Coast. But again, just to show the breadth of all the different activities. So some of the Coral Coast resorts that you might be interested in, we've got quite the selection along the Coral Coast. Starting with the DoubleTree, there's a Marriott Intercontinental. I'm going to show you quick pictures of these, Outrigger and a Warwick. So just so you can see, though, nice selection of, again, well-known international brand hotels. So beautiful, just closest to the airport is the DoubleTree by Hilton at Sonasali. It's actually on this little barrier island. So you take a 2-minute boat ride across the water to get there. So it's a lot of fun. Great for families, particularly families a little bit more on a budget. And yes, you do get a chocolate chip cookie when you're there. A little bit further down the road is the beautiful Marriott Momi Bay. I just had a group in here in December. They loved it. The resort has not only these beautiful, very traditional looking beachfront and lagoon front villas, they also have 26 over-the-water bungalows, one of 2 resorts that have over-the-water accommodation in Fiji. I'll show you the other one, don't worry. But again, Marriott, this is about an hour from the airport. About another 15 minutes down the road, you have the beautiful Intercontinental Resort in Fiji, 300 rooms and set on Natandola beaches, which is one of the most beautiful beaches in all of Fiji. Just 5-mile white sand beach, just gorgeous, great for swimming. A little bit further down the road, you've got the Shangri-La. We stayed here on our fam trip with our Canadian agents. This is Fiji's largest resort, 440 rooms, but it's on 101 acres. So very spread out. They have an adults only wing as well. They also, if I may give you a tip, they have this drink called a kava Rita, which is a mix of kava, Fijian kava, and tequila. And boy, was that a special evening, if I may just shout out to the bartenders at Shangri-La. We also have the beautiful Outrigger Resort, which is right near Singatoka town. Beautiful family-friendly resort, over 300 rooms. You can see in the picture up on the hill behind it, that's actually their spa called the Bembe Spa. It means butterfly in Fijian, but again, great options for families. And then a little bit further down the road, probably the last one on the Coral Coast would be the beautiful Warwick. Again, just lovely, lovely beachfront resort, lots of options for families. This also puts you in great proximity for, again, all those land adventures. So not just for kids, but for people who want to take advantage of Viti Levu's exciting land adventures. Okay, well, that was fun. But let's get off the big island and let's go out to the little islands. So we're going to go now out to Fiji's western islands, which are called the Mamanuthas and the Yasawas. So again, little language lesson here. So in Fijian, the letter C is pronounced as a TH. So it's the Mamanutha Islands, okay? Mamanutha and Yasawa Islands, which are out to Fiji's west, super easy to reach. This is where you find our private island resorts. This is where the majority of the resorts have fewer than 50 rooms. A lot of them you can find have fewer than 25 rooms. It's great for romance, wellness, adventure, family, a little bit of something for everyone out in the Mamanuthas and the Asawas. So let's start with the Mamanuthas, which are closest. They're really easy to reach from the mainland, from Nandi, Denarau. So you can go out on a ferry, which you see up top there, or if you got a small group, it makes just as much sense to get a small speedboat, and you can be out to your resort, depending where you're at, in 30 to 90 minutes. A lot of fun, great way to kind of tour the Mamanuthas. Or if you're super sexy and have some extra money, my preferred way is to get out there via helicopter or seaplane from Nandi. Difference in price, so I'm going to give these to you in US dollars. Ferry private boat round trip, you're looking at about 150 US per person. 4-person or 3-person helicopter would cost you about 750 US dollars. So you can see there's a price difference, but particularly for honeymooners, super sexy to get there quick and to get there on a seaplane, right? So the Mamanuthas have absolutely beautiful beaches. You can walk right off these beaches and get into warm, crystal clear water. A lot of snorkeling, a lot of just swimming right off the beaches here. And as you can see, lots to see, super convenient. It's home of Mondriki Island. This is where they shot Castaway with Tom Hanks. The back side of the island, which we're not seeing here, is where Survivor is filmed, where the little tribes are stranded. You can go out to Mondriki and have a picnic on that island. Resorts can organize that for you, no problem. The Mamanuthas are also home to some of our best surfing. So if you have people who are surf fanatics, you can certainly go out and either, if you're super good, try to surf our Cloud Break and other reefs, or learn to surf with one of the local surf companies. Home to this is Cloud9, one of our 2 floating party platforms. This one is more of an adults focus, but there's another platform that's a little bit more family focused. A lot of fun, good way to get out on the water for the day. And the Mamanuthas, to be honest, are famous for their absolutely beautiful sunsets. All the resorts are facing the west, and it's just the way the sun goes down over the water and over the islands that makes it just so beautiful. Okay, so we're going to go through really quickly, and I just kind of wanted to show you where these resorts are located. And so we're going to go, as I go through these islands from the top to the bottom. Don't worry, you guys, we're going to share this presentation, parts of it with you, so you can get all this. But I'm going to go through here and show you lots of different resorts out here. So up at the top, the northernmost is Vomo Island. This is luxury for sure. It is a family-friendly island with a number of very, very nice 4- and 5-bedroom luxury villas if you have that sort of client. They've recently built this development here that we're looking at. This is an adults only restaurant and pool. And so I can wholeheartedly say, even if you didn't have kids, you could now go to Vomo and really enjoy the resort because of this new adults only area. So Vomo Island, luxury, family, very hipster, very, Tokariki Island Resort, which is one of the sexiest little honeymoon resorts you'll find anywhere. Just love this place. They kind of undersell themselves as a 4-star, but your clients would be super happy. They turn off the Wi-Fi from 7 to 9 at night, so people have to talk to each other. Next door to Tokariki Island Resort, on Tokariki Island, there is the Sheraton Tokariki. This is a 100-room resort. It's the largest out in the Mamanuthas. It's very family friendly. I would just say that. It's a great place for families who want to have an island experience. And if they've got Bonvoy points or whatever, great place to use them out at the Sheraton. But very, very, very different product to the Tokariki Island Resort, which is very romance focused. So just be sure you got it right. Okay, this is one of my personal favorites. I just spent a couple of nights here. This is Mata Manoa. It is an adults-only honeymoon resort. 46 beautiful, beautiful bures. The resort is the only thing on the island. They have a spa that is built up into the trees. It's like a treehouse spa. It's just amazing. Affordable honeymoon. Great place to look at for honeymooners who might just be on a little bit of a budget. There's also Mana Island, Fiji, which is it is the largest actual island out in the Mamanuthas, home to Mana Island Resort. It is a solid 3-star resort, great for families, great for budget travelers. Little heads up, this is where the production crew for Survivor stays while they're in production. So there's good chunks of the year where Mana can be not available for sale. So just a little heads up. But a large resort spread out over a big island and really great for families. And then also for families who have a little bit more of a budget would be Castaway Island, Fiji. Now, Castaway is actually owned by the Outrigger Group. So a lot of times you can find packages that will combine Outrigger and Castaway. Castaway has 46 bourrées. And as you can see, you can hardly tell that there's 46 bourrées and rooms on this island. It is super special. The GM is a Fijian man named Stephen Andrews, and it is truly a legacy resort. A lot of the Aussies who were there when I was there come back every single year with their families. So really, really special place. Legacy family in the Mamanuthas. Okay, now I know you've been waiting for this one. So just going south here, we have Liku Liku Lagoon Resort, which is our second resort with over-the-water bourrées. So they've got 16 over-the-water bungalows here, as well as I believe there's 30 beachfront villas. If your clients are dying for that over-the-water experience, this would be the more sexy of the choices rather than at Marriott where there's children. The bourrées at Marriott are adults only, but the resort is family friendly. Liku Liku is adults only, very sexy. Look, you're looking at you could start there at an over-the-water, well, for about $1,500 US a night per couple, including food. And I'm trying to think, that's for a beachfront bourrée. So it's not bad, especially if you're looking at against Tahiti, but very beautiful, very sexy, very local, big thumbs up. And then its sister property, which is just around the corner, but completely inaccessible from the other, is Malolo Island Resort. So also owned by the Witten family. This is a family-friendly, again, legacy family resort. Lots of people go back year after year after year. Okay, keep going here. Just around the island, we have Tropica. This is a very nice adults-only resort. I would put it in line with like your Mata Manoa if you're looking for a sort of a more affordable honeymoon resort. This only has about 20 bourrées, so super small, super intimate experience, great staff. And then we also have just a little bit further down another, I would say, affordable yet very romantic honeymoon resort, Lomani Island, Fiji. 25 bourrées set on an old coconut farm with a heart-shaped reef right offshore. How sexy is this? Our PR manager, Hannah, who's not on the call today, but giving her a shout out, she's having a destination wedding here in May. So again, just remember, Fiji's not only great for honeymoons, but great for destination weddings. Very affordable, very easy. I also just want to mention right next to Lomani, this great resort called Musket Cove. It is actually a marina, so there's a lot of yachts that use the resort as their base, and it's a variety of different types of accommodation, but it's really well suited to all types of travelers. Also is great for groups who are looking to go out and surf and to fish and to do a lot of activities. It's really well located to put them right in the right spot to do all sorts of things in the Mamanuthas. Whew, okay. Just going to take a little breath. Wish I were there. Okay, let's now go up to the beautiful Yasawa Islands, which sit further north from the Mamanuthas. And because of their position, they're more remote than the Mamanuthas, not as developed, harder to get there. So you're looking at like a 2-hour ferry ride or a 30-minute seaplane ride. It's really mostly for adventurers and romantics. There are some family opportunities up there. And the one resort we really call out and we really talk about is Yasawa Island Resort. Resort, which sits up at the top of the islands. It's also the home of Yawini Beach, which is this beach that's the very, very top of the Yasawas. You get dropped off there by Yasawa Island Resort. You get a picnic basket with lobster salad and champagne and a walkie-talkie. And you don't see anybody for 3 hours unless you walkie-talkie back that you need more champagne or lobster. But talking about sexy and remote, this is it. Now the Yasawas are also famous for the Sawa Ilau Caves, beautiful sacred caves. Here's the Yasawa Island Resort. You can see it there on the right. You can barely see it. You actually land by land plane on the rugby field by the local village, so you can see all the kids running off the field as your plane comes into land. I do want to mention 2 other options for seeing the Mamanuthas and the Yasawas. We do have 2 cruise lines that do 3, 4, and 7-night cruises of the Yasawas and Mamanuthas. One is Captain Cook Cruises. This is a family-friendly cruise ship, 124 passengers, right? 124 passengers. So again, small ship, family-friendly. And even smaller is the 64-passenger Fiji Princess. This is with Blue Lagoon Cruises. This is adults only. So a great way to see Fiji, see it is like maybe stay on the Coral Coast for a few nights or stay in the Mamanuthas for a few nights and then get on a cruise ship and do a 4-night Yasawa cruise. And they will pick you up off the islands. If you're out in the islands, you don't have to go back to Denarau. So anyway, another great way to see the Western Islands. Think about combining that. And we can, of course, help you to do that if you need help putting together itineraries. Okay, we got to move quickly. We're almost there. So now we're going to go up north. So we're going to Fiji's second and third largest islands, Vanuatu and Taveuni. Now, Vanuatu is about the size of Maui, and it's sort of like Maui's topography. It's more jungle. It's where the rainforest meets the reef. So much more tropical paradise than Mamanuthas and Yasawas, which are more like desert islands. So lots going on up here, lots of activities for all sorts of travelers. So Ruth, how do we get up there? Well, look, you're going to get on one of these gorgeous little twin engine otters operated by Fiji Link, who is Fiji Airways domestic carrier. And you're going to fly 60 minutes into Savu or 90 minutes into Taveuni. The flight itself is just absolutely beautiful. So well worth the effort to get up there. So we're going to start in Savu, which is the hub of tourism up on Vanuatu. Vanua means land, Levu means big. So this is big land. We had Viti Levu, Big Fiji. Now we're on big land. So this is Savu, and I'm going to just say this is where one day I would like to live out the rest of my life. It's 10,000 people, a little yachting center, so a lot of yachties there. Just enough going on to be interesting, but still so quiet that there's nothing going on, if you know what I mean. The town surrounds this beautiful, beautiful bay, and Savu, the whole area is just known for its diving. Savu is where the Pixar animators stayed when they were sketching Finding Nemo. So if you've seen Finding Nemo, you've been to Savu. But because it's in a tropical paradise, there's all sorts of things to do on the land. Lots of rainforest hiking, lots of waterfall treks. This is a hidden interior lake, and you can float up this river with the tide, so you don't even have to paddle. It's wonderful experience. So again, lots to do when you get up into Savu. So I'm going to quickly share 4 different, very distinct resorts that are available for your clients up in Savu. So number 1, the Jean-Michel Cousteau Resort. Oh my God, love this place. Spent New Year's Eve here. We all jumped into the pool at midnight, guests and staff alike. It was amazing. 25 bourrées. It is family friendly, very small. And the family sustainability cultural program is done here like honestly no place else. So highly recommend. It is a luxury, but if you have families who really are willing to make the difference, that's great. It's perfect. On the same note, for romance, honeymooners, couples who are looking for very sexy experiences, this is the Namali Resort and Spa. Just absolutely beautiful, sublime private villas. This is one of the larger villas, but they do, have different categories. Prices at Namali are inclusive of both food and your liquor as well. So a great all-inclusive romance resort up in Savu Savu. Next door to Namali is the beautiful Savasi Island, and it's a really unique development, and it's a number. I think there's now 20 of these different villas, from 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom villas. So like self-contained little homes. You do go down to the dining room to eat, although you have the option of room service, but it's almost like a little community. And okay, just to be honest, I spent Christmas here last year with my girlfriends and my nephew, and we had an amazing time anyway, just a great option, great for families, great for like if there's 2 couples traveling together, because they can be together but separate. Great option. And if you see the little ship in the left-hand corner, that's actually some rooms that they've taken this old diving ship and turned it into hotel rooms. So Savasi, a lot of fun. The kids would love to play pirate around the island. And then lastly, up in Savu Savu is Koro Sun Resort, which has a lot of different options for different travelers. The resort is split in 2 parts. There's a side on the land side of the road, small road, and that's great for families. They've got lots of activities over there. And then the side we're looking at here is adults only. And the bourrées that are right in the front, or the lowest on the picture, are their Edgewater bourrées. They're not over the water, but they're Edgewater, and highly recommend those, for honeymooners or people who are looking for that experience. And it's an affordable sort of Edgewater experience, but beautifully designed, a lot of fun. And again, this whole side is adults only, so that's a great option for your couples. All right, quickly, let's go over to Taveuni, which is Fiji's garden island. If you've got people into birds and flowers and scuba diving, this is absolutely perfect for them. Scuba divers flock to Taveuni. It is home to a couple of Fiji's most famous scuba dive sites. The Great White Wall is one of them. It's also home to, I think it's 126 waterfalls and a beautiful coastal walk. So again, for people who are real nature lovers and want to get out, there's a natural rock slide. So again, more adventure focused. A couple of our favorite resorts near Taveuni. One would be Matangi Private Island Resort, reached by a 20-minute boat ride from Matangi. And it's most famous for Horseshoe Bay, which is that beautiful private bay. The resort is the only thing on the island, and there's I think there's 16 rooms, and one couple a day gets to use Horseshoe Bay to themselves. So again, private, sexy, oh my gosh, and as remote and far away from anything as you could possibly imagine. Also on the island of Taveuni, further down in the southern area, is Paradise Taveuni. Great resort, focus on scuba diving, but again, great location for any of your clients who are looking for something remote and some adventure. All right, really quickly, we got 2 more to go. A couple of outer island resorts that I just wanted to mention that are great for different types of clients. So the first is Royal Davui Island Resort. You're going to reach this via helicopter from Nandi Airport. It's about an hour's flight going down there. You can also go down by seaplane, but there's 16 of these very private, very beautiful. Again, I hate to use the word sexy, but this is adults only, romance specific, very private, great place to be alone. It's luxury property, but if you got clients who just want to get away from it, I'll highly recommend Royal Davui. And then if you have clients who just have more money than God, I would highly recommend Kokomo Private Island, Fiji. This is not cheap. This is our newest, sexiest luxury resort. I don't think this image really does it justice, but it's the brainchild of an Australian billionaire. It is sort of our answer to Tahiti's Brando Resort. Prices start at about $3,000 US a night for a 1-bedroom bourrée. So it's not cheap, but it has won many, many awards. It's on all the hot lists for 2022, 23. So again, if you have one of those high profile or just very, very lucky clients, Kokomo's someplace you can keep in mind. So, woo, we've been around the islands. Gosh, that was exhausting, but it was so much fun. Again, I'm just home after 6 weeks and I miss the islands terribly. I just want to take care of some quick business here. Also on the call is my beautiful colleague, Proud Miranda, who's our trade manager, trade partnerships manager. She works with me here in Los Angeles, and she is also a great point of contact for you. We work side by side, so always good to keep us both looped in. We do have a travel agent specialist program. It's Matai, not Mai Tai. Mai Tai is a cocktail. Matai is an expert in all things Fiji. You have a Mai Tai when you become a Matai. So anyway, we'll follow up with this. I think it's also in the handouts, but please feel free to become a Matai, and that actually puts you in the running for upcoming fam trips, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to remind you that we are in market with Baxter Media and GoWay and Fiji Airways. So we're out there trying to, get people excited, not just the trade, but consumers excited about traveling to Fiji. And wow, okay. I think we're now to some quick, I know we're almost out of time, but some quick Q&A, because then we have a ticket giveaway, right? And Becky, I think to answer your question, sorry, I think our contact information is going to be in the handouts if it's not already there. So we'll get you that. Okay. Q&A. And Zephan, do you want to manage this?
Yeah, I can manage it. And just a quick note on contact information, that'll also be included in my email with the recording of this webinar. I'll send that tomorrow. So in about 24 hours, you should have that. So that'll be there. Yeah, for Q&A, let's go through some of the questions that were asked. Now, Proud, I saw you in the chat answering a lot of questions, so I'll try not to repeat things here. I have one question here that I don't think has been answered yet, and that is, what is the best way to book a resort? So maybe if you could just touch on that quick, Ruth, while I find some more here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that's really up to you and your business model. There are a lot of great wholesale partners that we have in Canada. So if you have a relationship with a wholesaler or have a preferred South Pacific wholesaler within, a host agency or a consortia, I would encourage you to talk to them. We are working with all the top wholesalers, and they should be well trained and able to help you. If you prefer to communicate with the resorts directly, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and Proud, and we're very happy to make those introductions for you as well. A lot of our properties are also featured on Beds Online and other sort of online booking portals. So we hope it's easy for you to book us through whatever your favorite channel might be.
Thanks, Ruth. Maybe just a couple quick questions here. What side of the road does one drive on?
That's a very funny question. I drove for the first time this time in Fiji ever, right? They drive on the other side. They drive, right side, British style. And I drove the first time and I smashed up a car, and I'm now $2,000 in debt getting it fixed. So on the other side, and you need to be really careful, would be my answer.
Great. Thanks, Ruth.
Yeah.
Do certain islands get more rain during January to March?
January through March is just sort of the rainy season in general. So everybody gets the rain. The western side of Fiji, where Nandi and the Mamanuthas and the Asawas are, that is the drier side of the island, actually. And the eastern side, where Suva, the capital, is located, that's actually the rainier side of Viti Levu. The British chose Suva to be the capital because we all know the British like it cold and rainy, so they wanted to be someplace that reminded them of home. So they picked Suva as the capital. But during World War II, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers came and decided that Nandi was a better place to build an airstrip because it's drier. So just a little background on temperature and why our airport and our capital are a 4-hour drive apart from each other.
Thanks, Ruth. Specific question here, but I think might relate to many people. So, can you suggest any properties that are specifically suited for those with mobility issues? I know some travelers keen for an authentic Fiji experience, but one is in a motorized wheelchair. Can you speak to that, Ruth?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually on this trip did see and notice some people with mobility issues. And so I would say that the resorts down on the Coral Coast, certainly the Marriott, the Intercon, Outrigger, all would be very suitable and would have ground floor rooms and would be able, in broad terms, have accessible facilities. I also had an American friend who was out with his family at Six Senses, which is a luxury resort out in the Mamanuthas that I didn't cover because it's luxury, but they were in a villa, and he couldn't say enough about how well his father had been accommodated. So yes, there are properties, and I'd be happy to have, an offline conversation about that, with anybody who's interested.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruth. Okay, last question, I think, because all the other questions I think probably have been answered by Proud. Feel free to submit more questions if you'd like. Okay, there might be two here, actually. So first one, if clients are 4 nights in Nandi area, do they need a car rental or just do taxis and tours?
Yeah, okay. Well, I think I just kind of answered part of that. It depends on how comfortable you are driving a car on the wrong side of the road. I obviously clearly failed in that respect. Taxis and tours, I mean, it's very easy to do, and to organize. Most of the tours, for example, if you're going out to one of the day tripper islands, the transfer from your hotel to the port is actually included. So I'd kind of look at it, Becky. Again, it's just more your comfort on driving on the wrong side of the road. And the roads in Fiji are small and narrow, and taxis are affordable. So maybe either, just personal preference and confidence in driving on the wrong side of the road.
Great. And last question here, what months do you get the clearest water for scuba diving?
Yeah, that would definitely be sort of May through October would be the clearest months for diving. But we do have groups that go year round. It's not like, scuba diving just drops off in those other months. And we are the soft coral capital of the world.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruth, so much. So I think that about wraps it up for our Q&A time. Feel free to send Ruth and Proud an email. Again, their contact information will be included in the email tomorrow to all of you. So feel free to send your questions to them. I'm sure they'd love to receive that from you personally. So, but I think that about wraps it up for most of the content here. So can we go ahead and do this prize thing? John, do you want to come back online here? I think you should have the name in the chat.
And, I do indeed.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's get started with that. And then we've got a couple more details to wrap up here. So go ahead, good. John.
Yeah, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, for those of you who joined us, we entered your names into a draw to pick someone to win 2 round-trip economy class tickets on Fiji Airways from Vancouver to Nandi. And I'm pleased to announce that the winner is Marcia Proctor from the travel agent next door. So congratulations, Marcia. I have your email address. So what I'm going to do is I will send you your ticket certificate. And if you have any questions, by all means, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you further. But all the information on how to book your ticket will be on the prize certificate. So congratulations.
Okay, thank you so much, John, and congratulations. Again, they'll be in touch with you to arrange this prize. So yeah, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for being here. Huge thank you to Ruth and John for all your work in this presentation. And thank you to Proud as well for answering questions in the chat. This has been an awesome presentation. Ruth, so grateful for your expertise on everything Fiji. And thank you again, everybody, for being here. Just so everyone knows, right after this webinar ends, you'll be redirected to Tourism Fiji's website where you can access more information from them. I believe it's the specialist program that you'll be directed to. And we'll be sending the webinar recording link to each of you within about 24 hours. All of our past webinar recordings can be found on our Baxter Media YouTube channel or at travelpress.com under the Agent Education tab. So feel free to check those out there. And this recording will be posted there as well. Again, you'll receive the link to it, though, in the email tomorrow. And before we go, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Baxter Media's publications for all your industry news. You can subscribe at travelpress.com by clicking the link pinned to the top of your chat box right now. It's there in blue. And also check out our Baxter Media LinkedIn page. It's a great way to hear about what we're doing and about our upcoming webinars. You'll be hearing information about ACA, for example, the Agent's Choice Awards, which is coming up just around the corner for us. We're going to have a survey. There's going to be prizes involved, stuff like that. So keep an eye on LinkedIn and our other social channels for that. And yeah, I think with that, that kind of wraps things up for us. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. It's such a pleasure. Thank you to the Fiji team. Always a pleasure to work with you and always a pleasure to have you bring us this great content. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and great rest of your week. All the best.